These scrambled eggs suck. Maybe not suck, but they're not anything special. Let's figure out how to fix that. Scrambled eggs are a very simple and common part of a carnivore diet, but sometimes they leave a little bit to be desired because they're just kind of mediocre and boring, and I don't think they need to be. I think we can make these better. Let's go do some research.
If you ask 10,000 different chefs how to scramble an egg, they'll give you 10,000 different answers.
Eggs in the pan, nice knob of butter. Take it off the heat, go back to the heat, take it off the heat, and treat it like a risotto.
And we're going to start with scrambled eggs.
That's a good idea.
Keep a little bit of egg in the bowl.
With the smallest possible curd so that they don't toughen. With the smallest possible curd so that they don't toughen.
A little softer, put a little more egg in it.
Today, I'm going to show you how to make scrambled eggs in the microwave.
French style. We're talking glistening.
Pour our egg mixture into our pan. Now, it's easier to do this if the pan is still in the oven at 50 degrees for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to stir.
Let's go to the store. First things first, ingredients. These are free-range eggs from a company that says the chickens have a life on 8+ acres. These are supposed to be a higher quality egg, so get the best you can afford. So we got 1 dozen. I've also got 12 different ways I researched on how to try to make eggs. I'm gonna make them all, and let's see which one's the best. To keep this experiment as fair as possible, I have these little cups. I'm gonna do 1 egg at a time with each of the individual techniques. Place it in that cup, which has a number written on the bottom, and then we're gonna mix them all up. We're gonna give you our favorite to least favorite order. We're gonna see how it comes out. So first things first, standard scrambled egg with butter, the way I was taught my whole life. Got about a teaspoon of butter over a medium to medium high heat. Egg number 1. Pinch of salt, scramble. Keep them moving like I was always taught. I was always taught not to overcook my scrambled eggs, so we're gonna get those out. Scrambled egg number 1. Number 2 is a technique someone told me about a long time ago. I don't even remember when. Put it into a bowl, we're gonna whisk it, and we're gonna add just a little bit of water for 1 egg, probably about a teaspoon. We're gonna whisk that together with the salt and scramble it with butter. There's number 2. Number 3 is adding cream instead of water. We'll see if that makes a difference. Number 3. Number 4 is plus about a teaspoon of spreadable butter mayo. If you think about it, mayo is made out of emulsification of eggs and fat, so it kind of makes sense. Let's see what that does. Number 4. Number 5 is Gordon Ramsay's method. This pops up everywhere. We're gonna give this a shot as well. This pan is cold. The butter and the egg is gonna go into this pan cold. I'm gonna put it on medium heat and I'm gonna start stirring it. And this is the on and off the heat method. And if you've seen any of my videos making gravy, that's where I learned how to do my gravy with egg yolk. We're going to try this with the scrambled egg method. So I've got my butter and egg that's gonna go in there. I'm not gonna add salt until after the egg has been cooked because that's what he does. And then I have about a teaspoon of sour cream. He uses creme fraiche, but I know he says you can also use sour cream. We're gonna use sour cream to stop the cooking when the egg is finished. Stir this around all together, and we see it starting to change a little bit, so we come off the heat and back on. The butter is melting down, it's starting to thicken up a little bit, so we come back off, back on, starting to cook, back off. He wants to keep these curds as small as possible and as soft as possible, which is also something that Jacques Pepin uses, his technique, to try to create as well, is really soft, small curds. Back on. You can really see it starting to turn thick now. Back off so it doesn't cook too quickly or too much. Okay, so that is definitely cooked as much as Gordon Ramsay would cook it. And then we add the sour cream. It's supposed to stop the cooking. Stir that together. And at this point, we'll go ahead and season the eggs. So we're gonna add in our pinch of salt, stir that through. He also adds chives. I'm gonna skip that today. If you wanna do it the way he does, he would also add in a few diced up chives right now. There's the Gordon Ramsay eggs. Number 5. Number 6 is the Julia Child's recipe method, and she cooks it over medium heat slowly, and then she actually adds in a little bit of raw egg that she saves back in the bowl right at the very end to stop the cooking, and she says that's another French style, so let's give Julia Child's method a try. Save a little bit. And now we stop the cooking with the last little bit of raw egg. Number 6. Number 7, we're going to play around with the idea of adding the salt just at the end, like Gordon Ramsay, but still making it like a normal scrambled egg. Now that the egg is cooked, I add the salt. Number 7. So this one I call the late yolk, and this is something I started doing when we were eating a bunch of eggs, where we're actually gonna separate the white from the yolk. We're gonna cook the white all the way, then I'm gonna add the yolk, and I'm barely gonna cook the yolk and let it just coat and kind of come together with everything. We're gonna see how that works out as well. So the whites are totally scrambled. Now we're gonna add the yolk on top. Finish that together. Number 8. Ash has always loved her eggs with bacon grease, so let's see how it compares to all the others. Number 9. So now we're gonna try the oven method. I think this is probably more applicable if you're doing a lot of eggs all at one time, but I figured we'd go ahead and give it a try. My oven is preheating to 350 degrees. I have a ramekin inside that has a little bit of butter in it that is melting. As soon as that is melted, we can then put the egg in there and we'll be stirring it probably every 1 to 2 minutes. 10 minutes is kind of the standard if you're doing this in a large pan of eggs for a party of people. Number 10. I don't know why I'm doing this again. I did a beef patty in the microwave. And of course I got hate for using a microwave. I also got hate from people who said I didn't use the microwave the right way and that it's actually a great tool. I don't necessarily agree, but just to see if everybody has right, I'm gonna do this the way that everyone suggested that I should learn to use a microwave. So we're gonna go ahead and do an egg in the microwave. %50 power so that we don't overcook it. We're gonna stop it about every 10 to 15 seconds and stir. This is a very annoying process for something that I don't think I'm gonna care for. Looks cooked right there. There's number 11. I don't know about that. Number 12 is perhaps the most involved of all of the processes as far as the dishes you're gonna have to wash or the process itself. We're gonna use a bain-marie or a double boiler. So I have water that I'm gonna be bringing up to the simmer. I have a bowl here. I'm going to put my butter and my egg in here and cook it gently over simmering water, stirring constantly to really gently cook it and avoid overcooking. And we're gonna see what that does to this. And that's number 12. Now all we gotta do is taste test a dozen different ways of cooking a scrambled egg, and we're gonna see which one is our favorite, but to try to make it a little more fair. Now let's see what we think. All right, so we're gonna try a dozen different methods of cooking eggs. How you feeling about this?
I'm here for it. I'm excited.
Okay.
I love when you do these ultimate, beef patty, ultimate egg videos. I think they're fun.
Yeah, these like technique experiment things.
Yeah. Well, because we eat so many beef and eggs and, different things,
Right.
especially being on like a keto or carnivore diet. But to know like the best ultimate way to cook them,
Sure.
it's helpful.
Absolutely.
So I enjoy it.
We're gonna go from our left to our right all the way through. We'll go ahead and put these kind of in an order, I think, of what is our favorite to least favorite or our least favorite up to our favorite or whatever as best we can and see if there's like a real clear winner and a real clear loser and how everything falls in between. And then we have numbers written on the bottom of the cup and she has a note in her phone so we know which ones are which, but I mixed them all up. We'll see what our honest assessment is because this is just eggs, some kind of cooking fat, salt. Purely the flavor of the egg and the technique of cooking it, the texture, everything that we get from that. Well, I guess we'll just start over here.
Okay.
Good scrambled egg.
I'm gonna need another bite just to make sure. That's a super, super good scrambled egg. And I really, really like the flavor of it.
Yeah.
It's very enjoyable.
That is kind of now a baseline. And if something is not as good, we'll put it over here. If something is better, we'll put it over there.
See, this is so much fun.
This is fun.
Next.
All right,
What other goodies we got?
here's the next one. Very different texture, just scooping it out.
It is a very, very different texture, that's for sure. It's like it's a darker color. That is very good. This is a lot richer, a lot creamier of a texture, full of flavor. I like that more than I like the first one.
Definitely, I agree. I think this one is definitely better.
That's
So we'll
just
put
a
it,
good, rich, bold egg flavor.
yeah, we'll put it on that side. Next, very different texture.
It's almost like the texture of it, to me, is almost like a pudding.
Very, very creamy. And you can really taste the richness of the egg yolk in that.
That's really good. I think I like this a bit more. This is almost like a creamier texture, but it's like the little, what do you call them? Like
Curds.
The curds,
They're
yes.
very, very small.
The small curds, amazing texture.
I think flavor-wise, these are almost the same, but because of the texture, I get the richness in the yolk better.
Yes.
I get it on my palate more.
Yes.
Definitely
Definitely.
here. All right, next. Very creamy texture again. For me, the texture is almost the same as this, but the flavor's not quite as rich.
I would have to agree. I actually think I prefer the smaller curds. This has a bit larger of curds. I taste more of like a runny egg. That's what I'm getting out of it.
That one sits maybe between these two.
I would agree. I would agree. Because it's not like I hate it. It's really good, but I don't know if it's as good as that other one. So let's put it right there.
Yeah, I still think this one is better. This would come in maybe a close second, but I think flavor-wise, this is better.
That's the one, yep.
Next, very springy sort of texture. You can see everything kind of sticking together there. That tastes like hotel eggs to me.
This is like hotel eggs. We mean like Motel 6 continental breakfast.
Right. Those aren't overcooked, I can tell.
Rubbery in texture, they're not as rich in flavor. Kind of taste like nothing. And when you chew them,
that's not really my favorite.
these are definitely hotel eggs. So those are over there.
Yeah, those are definitely down there.
Definitely there.
But that just kind of seems like a waste of a good, kind of more expensive egg to me.
Right. This one is really good. It's not as rubbery as that one. It's not as creamy as these. To me, this is like a nice, basic, simple scrambled egg.
That tastes like an egg, like a scrambled egg that I would make just normally, that I kind of grew up eating.
Like
it's like
basic scrambled egg.
They're good. They're not overcooked. They're really nice. So I'm going to set it next to this one, and maybe we can go back and we can kind of figure out between those two, because I don't know if there's a clear winner for me just yet. These look very different. I really like that. I don't know if she will.
I have thoughts. I'm not a big, super, super runny egg person. I think that this is really good, and it's a very good creamy texture. The yolk, though, is very prominent. I like this more than I actually thought, because I'm not a big runny yolk person, but it's not my favorite because I don't think it's as flavorful, and I want to taste like the whole egg, and I want to get like a good texture. To me, this is more of just more focused on the yolk and not the whole egg.
I really enjoy this, but I'll be honest, it doesn't taste very much like scrambled eggs to me. It tastes more like sunny side up eggs.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
I know I can taste this, and I know exactly what this is. I'm not going to say anything, but I know exactly what that is. So I'm actually going to say, though, in terms of scrambled eggs, it doesn't actually taste that much like scrambled eggs to me. I think that goes there for me.
Fair.
It's better than whatever this is. I would totally eat that if I was in the mood for that kind of egg, that kind of flavor. Next.
I'm going to give this one a nah. This is like very rubbery to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you get that? Like
I did. It's got a rubbery texture, but at the same time, it's still wet. Like something is really weird. The flavor is fine, but the texture is odd.
However, the technique was that we cooked these. It's almost like it just wasn't cooked evenly.
Yeah.
Because it's like parts of it are very runny, and then other parts, it's very chewy and rubbery, super rubbery. That's the least.
Yeah, for me, that goes all the way down there. This one, interesting texture. I don't know what that is.
That's deliciousness. That's, oh gosh. That is, oh, hold on. I'm going to take another bite.
Yeah.
For me personally, these are my absolute favorite. They're super well cooked. The texture is fantastic all the way through. It's great.
Yeah.
These also have an amazing flavor to them.
Yeah.
Like more flavor than any of the other ones that we tried.
Yeah.
It's like a buttery fattiness. It's almost like a silky fattiness to the egg.
I think that's very good. Texture-wise, it's not my absolute favorite. I personally would place that right here. I know you are saying you'd place it up here.
Yep.
So why don't we set it off to the side up here, because we'll know that's kind of your favorite.
I like it.
Boring.
Did you ever like go to like when you were a kid, somebody's house and like their mom who didn't really cook wanted to make you breakfast?
And it was just kind of meh and you ate it because you were being polite?
That's what this is.
Yeah, that's what those are. They're definitely not that bad. I don't think they're even quite this bad.
No.
I think they're maybe right here.
Yeah.
Meh. At the beginning of the video, I had eggs and I was like, these are boring. It reminds me very much of that. Flavor is like a really good scrambled egg. I prefer a more creamy texture because I feel like you'd taste it better with a creamier texture.
I'm going to agree with you. To me, they're just kind of boring. There's no creaminess. There's no,
I would put them right in line with the boring one. I think they're kind of right there. And then we can go back and figure it out. Last one. Texture-wise for me, nicer. Flavor-wise, still kind of basic.
Texture-wise, better.
Yeah.
And they're very creamy.
If I went someplace and I got kind of just a standard scrambled egg, but this is how it came out, I'd be very impressed because it's a very basic scrambled egg, standard scrambled egg, but it's just a little bit more enjoyable than a typical scrambled egg. So for me, I think that goes above the boring ones here.
Yep, I would agree.
I think this would slide right in here.
I'm going to agree with that because this one was tasty. It just was like...
It's just not really a scrambled egg taste or texture. So this one was your favorite?
I think so.
We'll come back and we'll double check. Let's figure out between these two if we have a preference, and then between these two if we have a preference, so we kind of know where those go. eating them back to back like that, for me, that's the clear winner.
Yes, you're 100% right.
So this one is here. This one is here.
That one was a little bit better.
It's a little better. Let's try these that are tied here.
For me, these are the better choice. Creamier in texture. That's definitely a better scrambled egg than that.
There is also a flavor that I can now taste in this when it's back to back, and I know exactly what that is. I'm not going to say what it is, and I understand why I think this one's probably better.
You have such like a refined palate.
Well, I mean, I recipe create and taste test things constantly, and you know, you have to really get refined down with like little minute differences in things to understand. So, do you want to taste that one again and compare it with the top end one there and see how that feels for you?
Let's give the yolk a try.
I'll taste this one again, and then I'm going to taste what I think it's compared to. I definitely, for me, think this one is the best, but that's not surprising to me.
But you really like this one?
I do really like that one. I still think it falls in 4th place for me personally. I know for you it's in 1st. So I think these 3 are all really good, and your taste preference is to put this on this side of them, and my taste preference is to put it on this side of them.
I would agree.
Yeah.
With this one, the flavor, amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like the texture of it, the creaminess. I feel like I could go get a country ham and some bacon and like.
Do you know what that is?
I'm not sure. I kind of eat what you make me.
Sure.
But hands down, if not this one that we have in 1st currently, this is phenomenal. Curds are very small.
So if we combined this texture with this flavor.
I'd eat that every day, all day.
Right. So let's set this here as an outlier. These are our top 3 for sure, and both of us picked that as the winner. I would eat any of these 3 any day. I would actually also eat any of these here. These are okay. Boring eggs, and like this is at the beginning of the video what I thought I was trying to get away from. And then these last 2 over here, I just wouldn't do. That is definitely our top pick of the 3, and I think these 2 were kind of neck and neck for me.
Yeah.
These 4 are a great option anytime, and I'm totally happy with those. These would lean in this other direction. These 2 I'm not gonna make, whatever they are.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna do it again. You wanna see what we have?
Yes.
All right, why don't you pull out your notes. So our least favorite scrambled egg is number 11.
The microwave.
Yeah, that's I think why it's rubbery and also simultaneously watery, because the way a microwave works is it causes the agitation in those water molecules, which seizes proteins and then pushes water out. So it makes the protein rubbery and then pushes the water out without the water naturally coming out and evaporating as you're cooking. It's edible. If the only thing you have to cook with is a microwave, you're a college student, it can be done. It's just not going to be that good.
It actually took a little bit more work and a little longer.
It was more effort going. It was just an annoying process. Like, even though it happened in like 45 seconds, the in and out and in and out and in and out.
Yeah,
Like,
in and out. Yeah, it was a lot.
That's a pain. It's a pain in the butt. Our second least favorite, number 7.
Salt at the end.
Salt at the end. I really didn't expect that, because I know a lot of people say they don't add the salt until the end.
Yeah.
Because when you put it in and you mix it into the eggs, it makes them watery. I actually find that I think it's the opposite.
I think so too.
I think putting the salt at the end drew water out of the eggs after they were already cooked and did something weird to the texture.
Right.
So these are just the kind of boring scrambled eggs. I am 99% sure that this is the very first one that I did. Number 1.
Yep. Standard butter.
That's it. It has that flavor. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just boring.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the video, that's exactly what I did with that first egg that I had. This one is going to be interesting. Number 3.
That's with cream.
A lot of people have told me over the years you should add cream into your eggs. And I've tried it, and I've never really been confident, because I've never done this back to back like this, but I've never been confident that I really like that much, because I think the extra dairy makes them too dense and does something weird. I think for me, at least personally, for my taste, that was just confirmed.
Which is weird too, because see, I would think if you added the cream, it would make it creamier.
Right.
That's what I would think.
That's what everyone tells me.
That's not what I tasted.
No, I do that, and it doesn't do it for me.
No,
it doesn't work. It's there's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of a boring egg, and now you have extra dairy for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay, this one I guarantee you is the adding the yolk at the end, because it gives you that fried egg vibe, which is why I've always liked doing that, because I like that flavor, and Ash is not a huge fan. That's number 8.
Late yolk.
Yeah, that's the late.
the one?
That's the late yolk where you cook the whites and then you soak it with the yolk.
So rich in like the yolk flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can cook the yolk more if you like it firmer and you can get the texture, but you're still going to taste that yolk. Then it's just like an over medium egg or something like that where the yolk is almost cooked all the way. I really like that. It just doesn't taste like scrambled eggs, but it's a cool technique and it's kind of like a fried egg vibe, but without having to worry so much about not breaking the yolk in the pan. Now we're starting to get into the range of, these are pretty good. These are kind of a standard everyday egg I would like to do. Number 2.
Plus water.
Yes. When I make eggs for people, if I want a fluffy, light egg, I don't add cream, I add water. And the reason is when you cook it, it steams. People always say, why do you use egg white powder instead of egg whites, like liquid egg whites in your recipes? Because water inside the eggs puffs. And when I don't want that to happen, I use egg white powder. But on the flip side, when I'm doing a scrambled egg and I want it light and fluffy, I do want that because I want that light, fluffy egg texture. And that's why I add water.
I would think add cream.
Yeah.
But add water.
And that's the thing. I tried the cream for years and then I did water one time because I heard somebody say that they do that and I tried it. Oh, this is way better.
Interesting.
So yeah, so that's the number 2, add water. Next, number 4.
That's the plus mayo.
Okay, when you get that tanginess of whether you're using lemon juice or vinegar and whatever in your mayo, I can taste a hint of that and it gives this interesting mayo type flavor and it's very subtle.
I just caught on to the creaminess of it. It was really good though.
Really good. That's a really cool way if you don't want the fluffiness, but you wanted to like make them a little creamier, you could totally do that instead of the water. Next of the sort of basic eggs here that we think are elevated, this was our favorite, number 10.
Number 10. Oven method. Are you serious?
Apparently, the oven, if you're careful with it, is a good way to cook a basic scrambled egg. So if you're doing eggs for a large crowd, you can totally do it in an oven.
I thought that the oven would be my least favorite way. The oven, to me, that would taste really like weird and I thought the texture would be off.
I was really careful to make sure I was stirring it a lot so that it didn't do that. I was like, well, that's how hotels do it and that's how restaurants that have buffets do it and all that. If you do it right, and if you take care of it and stir it frequently enough, and if you know what you're doing, apparently you can make a real good scrambled egg out of it.
If you have a very large family that you're trying to feed, the fact that you can make scrambled eggs in your oven in like a big pan, that really blows my mind.
I'm really very surprised. So let's go ahead and talk about this outlier while we're here.
Okay.
I know exactly what this is.
Okay.
That is bacon grease.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
You have always loved your eggs with bacon grease. You love that flavor.
I love bacon. Yeah, that's absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
Makes sense why it's my favorite.
Yeah, that's number 9.
Bacon grease.
Yeah, that's bacon grease. Now, that's why I was saying, though, at the end of the video, once we figure out what these are, what if I use those techniques to get the texture, but I used bacon grease instead of butter?
And that, I think, would actually, I would be totally okay with that.
Right. See, we start crafting the ultimate way of doing a scrambled egg. So if you really like bacon grease, or if you prefer beef tallow or whatever, use the cooking technique that gets you the texture you want. If the difference in fat makes a flavor difference for you, then you can do that too. And you can see for Ash, texture of these is better, but the flavor of this is my favorite. So I would prefer this. So she's going flavor over texture. Take the favorite texture and the favorite flavor and put the two together. And you get your ultimate combination of egg.
Well, I think that's cool too, especially if you try to be really clean and not use a lot of seasonings or different things like that. Putting bacon grease like that in
you can play with that flavor and not be putting other seasonings in.
But it's just so much more flavorful, even though these were all pretty much, done, different techniques, but like kind of same seasoning thing. Other than just salt, that has way more flavor. So if you're eating a bunch of eggs, great way to doll it up.
It's fantastic. In third place is number 6.
Number 6, Julia Childs.
Julia Childs' recipe. I'm not surprised by this.
No.
She was an amazing chef. She studied French cuisine, and if the French know how to do anything, it is make amazing food.
I really enjoy your Julia Childs voice. That to me was the highlight of this video.
Today on The French Chef.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless her. I wish that she was still alive, but I sure enjoy all of the things that she left us, the legacy of cooking, and the fact that I can have a cooking show on YouTube was all started because back in the day, she had a cooking show for the first time on TV. In second place, number 5.
Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay. His egg recipe is all over the internet, all over YouTube, his technique of doing it, because I mean, the man knows what he's doing. By the way, if you guys would like, go send a message. If you know a way to get to him on social media, send a message to Gordon Ramsay and tell him we need to have an egg throwdown. Can you imagine if Gordon Ramsay would come on this channel?
Would he yell at us? Probably.
I mean, probably.
He's probably gonna, I'm surprised these aren't yelling at us right now.
He can come on and he can call me a donkey and tell me I'm stupid all day long just to be in the same kitchen as Gordon Ramsay. He's my favorite celebrity chef, and I've learned so much by watching his videos over the years. I love Gordon Ramsay, so I am not surprised that his egg recipe stacks up against all these others so well, because he's brilliant at what he does.
Yeah.
Lots of respect for his ability to cook. So tag Gordon Ramsay, be very polite because he'll yell at you if you're not, but tag Gordon Ramsay anywhere on social media you can and tell him about this video, because maybe we could get Gordon Ramsay to come in the kitchen with us, or maybe I can meet him somewhere and get to go be in the kitchen with him, because you never know. I don't know what I could possibly do to help Gordon Ramsay out, but if he ever had the wild hair to do a video with me, I'd have to change my shorts and then I'd be very happy. So number 1 is number 12, which I believe is the Bain-marie.
That is the Bain-marie, yeah.
So it's cooked very gently, and because I used a whisk, it was keeping the curds very small, and that's why we said we love the texture. Flavor-wise, these 3 are a tie. The texture of this is just so refined and elevated. Truthfully, I think you could use Gordon Ramsay's method or Julia Child's method and use a whisk. Or if you like larger curds, use the spatula and cook larger curds and control the texture that way, because I think really these 3 were neck and neck. I just think this one was so smooth and so rich tasting. That's just what made the difference for me.
Kind of interesting, because I don't think I've ever had my eggs prepared Bain-marie. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Bain-marie.
I think I said it like 5 different ways.
I've done it once or twice in the past, but I've never taken the time to do it, because you do have to clean up a little bit more, and it can kind of stick inside of a bowl.
It is a little bit more of like extra work, I feel like.
It is.
But, you know, really, really tasty.
But see, I think this is why Gordon Ramsay's or Julia Child's recipe is so good, because you can get a very close texture to this with less effort.
This did take more effort and more time.
Yeah. Well, I think going forward, what I will probably do is I will pick one of these 3 methods of cooking.
Yes.
Hey, we want bacon grease in our eggs. I will do half butter and half bacon grease, because it's a flavor thing that's really good. And if it's like we don't have bacon grease, or we just don't want that day or whatever, I'll go with all butter. That will be my kind of go-to, because it's clearly better. If I just don't want to put in that much time or effort into it, because I'm just trying to make something quick for us, I'll do one of these things here where I like add the water or add the mayo.
Absolutely.
Oh, and then this little fried egg sort of thing here with adding the yolk at the very end. That's when I want something that tastes this way, where I can taste the real yolky stuff. I'll make that for myself. I won't make it for her, even though she did like these. I just know that's not her favorite, and she would much prefer something like those.
Smother it in bacon, though.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll think twice about it.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That is the ultimate scrambled egg experience. I actually learned a lot from this, and I hope you guys did too. Eggs are so fantastic, but they can get boring if you don't know what you're doing. They just kind of taste like a hotel continental breakfast if you're not careful. Whatever you do, in our opinion, stay away from the microwave doing that weird stuff over here. Just don't do that. If you want some basic scrambled eggs, use your recipe that you got. That's cool. If you want those fried eggs in that new technique, that's kind of a way to do that. There's your sort of basic scrambled eggs, but a little elevated. And then you got the fancy textures up here. I think it's really cool. You guys go ahead and experiment with these. Let us know what you like. Is there a way we didn't do a scrambled egg that you can think of that we should have tried? If so, put it in the comments down below. And if it's a good idea, maybe we'll try it again. Thank you guys so much for being here. Go enjoy a whole bunch of scrambled eggs. Have some fun. Shoot Gordon Ramsay a message if you happen to know how to get a hold of him. This is Chris Cook in Nashville. My beautiful wife, Ash Taylor. You guys eat your meat, and especially your scrambled eggs. Love your life. We're gonna see you here in the kitchen for a whole bunch more experiments and interesting recipes. And if you like eggs as much as we do, you should go check out my quiche recipe over here.
We done.
We're done.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it.